Who doesn't want to retire quick? Put your hand up if you want to retire quick.
If somebody's thinking about retirement, they've got their property, so they live in the home that might still have a mortgage or might not. What can we do? What can we do to retire using our property? So you might already have money in your super and you have a certain age that you're expecting you need to work to, or that you've already figured out you need to work to before you can retire. We're going to talk you through today about how to use your existing property to possibly bring in some weekly income so that you can, first of all, not spend all your super. And second of all, you may be able to figure out if this is the cash flow you can make from your property. You may be able to move that age 5, 10 years earlier, perhaps.
Yep.
So we'll take you through the process or a few different options of what you can do with a site that you already own.
Yeah. So if you're in a situation where you own your own property, and a simple example would be if you could keep the existing house and put something at the back, right? So retain and put a double story, 3-4 bedroom at the back of the existing house. You're going to be in a situation where potentially, and it depends on the area, obviously, because different areas are going to get different types of rent for that price, for that property. So, you could be in a situation where you would be putting in a couple $100 a week in your pocket, right? Where positive geared. So like touching on what Rebecca said, all of a sudden you don't really have to dabble too much into your super, right? Or as much as what you were planning to do. So, if you're in a situation where you don't, if you're putting $1,000 a month in your pocket, right, you might be able to bring forward retirement several years, right? So it also gives you the ability to, if you've got an extra $10,000, $15,000 coming in from property, positive geared property a year, you might go on that vacation that you wanted to, or we're touching on retire a little bit earlier. So that's a strategy that can work for clients. Another strategy is, potentially if you've got a block that you could subdivide and sell in your backyard, right? So selling your backyard effectively, you could bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Obviously, it depends on the area, and that could be parked into your superannuation, and then you're in a position where you could retire. You don't really need a huge backyard anymore. You're downsizing. You want to sort of make life choices that sort of allows you to go on vacations or see your kids or grandchildren more. Those are the priorities when you're getting to that retirement age. So selling your backyard, parking it into a super or something like that might be in a position where you could retire a few years earlier.
So those two options, I'll just say two. So the first option was to keep your existing home and you can stay living in it. And subdivide the back and build, so that you could either rent out or you could sell. So that's our option one. Mm-hmm. And then the option two that Alfred just mentioned was just subdividing the backyard as is and selling with the plans and permits. Now, both those options right now are definitely worth looking into, because the rules for developers in Victoria changed recently, where 2-lot subdivisions have a much easier process than early last year. So now the wait time is a lot less. You could possibly get a permit for a 2-lot subdivision within 10 days from the council. Obviously, conditions apply. So you do need to check if you comply, but you also not only save on the time but the money. So there's thousands of dollars saved in your council application fee as well. And to find that out, you would want to do a site assessment, which iSubdivide does do for clients. We do provide site assessments where we tell you what you can fit, how many units, how many bedrooms. We look at things like zoning, overlays to make sure you can develop. All of that should get done in your preliminary site assessment, so then you can make decisions like this and find out if you actually can subdivide your backyard and kind of, figure out if this early retirement plan is possible for you. Yes, so I just wanted to go through those two options and just kind of highlight the benefit of a 2-lot subdivision at the moment. The third option, of course, is if you wanted to just knock down, build as many as you can. It might be 3, it might be 4, and you can essentially live in one, which is great if you're wanting to downsize when you retire, which most people do. So you could live in one, and then you have the option of either renting out the back ones, selling the remaining units, or what some of our clients do, if you're in a financial position to do so, is they will build 1 or 2 for their children or their kids, and then they will either sell to them at a great price or give it to them, rent it to them. We've had many clients that have done that to help their family.
Yeah.
So that's also another option for you. It really, really does depend on what your financial situation is, but that's something for you to look into as well.
Yeah. And ultimately, we're getting to a point where the country, you've got to think about the future. So think about your children and your grandchildren and beyond. And it's going to be really helpful for them in a world that's just becoming more and more difficult to owning a home.
So there you have it, guys. If you do want to look into purchasing a site assessment with us so we can look into what your opportunities are, please take a look at the link below. You can purchase a site assessment for only $195. It takes us 7 working days to complete, and it also includes a Zoom session with us so that we can take you through your specific site, answer your questions, and help you understand the process of property developing. Thanks, guys. We hope to see you soon.
See you soon.